Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. My name is Kia and I'm from Cara Bookkeeping Specialists, where we provide outsourced bookkeeping services to business owners and accountants. And now we are starting our season on taxes. We're looking at the basics and we're starting the very first video with my favorite, VAT. Why have I decided to go with VAT? Because it's the one that applies to pretty much every single one of you. It's the one you'll be most familiar with and you will have heard of an awful lot. So let's understand a little bit more about what it is. VAT is a value-added tax that is charged for most consumables in the UK, such as the goods and services that we buy every single day. If you own a business or not, you will be paying VAT in one way or another. In general, you'll pay VAT as you go about your daily life, spending money on goods and services. To be honest, if you look around your house, your office, or wherever you are, and your eyes land on something, chances are it had VAT on it. And if you check your receipts, you'll often see a little VAT breakdown on them. In the year ending 2020, VAT accounted for about £136.6 billion in government revenue. It is one of the biggest sources of revenue for the government. This tax, along with a couple of the other taxes that we're going to be looking at later on in the season. So you understand why it's so important, okay? Now, there are various different VAT schemes and rates. I'm going to go over this really briefly. There is the flat rate scheme, the cash accounting scheme, and the accrual accounting scheme. Flat rate scheme is where you calculate a fixed percentage based on your trade and various business factors such as the size of your business or the amount of turnover you have per year, and they just calculate your VAT liability based on that. Cash accounting scheme is when you calculate the VAT you need to pay or be repaid based on the movement of cash in your business. So exactly when goods were bought or sold and when that money actually changed hands. And the accrual accounting scheme is the most common one that you'll come across, and that's when we account for that at the time of an agreement. So handing over an invoice or receiving an invoice or a receipt, and the date of that document becomes when you become liable for the VAT on that document. There are other types of VAT schemes that you may come across, such as the VAT retail scheme. So if you are in the retail industry and that is of interest to you, then you're going to want to go and check that out. The various rates is standard rate, which is 20%, which is the most common rate of VAT that's applied to majority of the goods and services we come across. Reduced rate is 5%. You'll find this on things such as children's car seats. Some goods and services apply to the elderly, such as mobility scooters and your home gas and electricity, and a few other things as well. And the last most common one you'll see is zero rate, which is literally 0% applied to whatever it is, the goods or supply. And that's generally things like food and drink, but doesn't include alcoholic drinks or some cooked foods or restaurant foods, which will be standard rated. So there are different circumstances that apply here. Most often children's clothes, public transports, book, magazines and newspapers. So anything that's like a publication. And for the ladies out there, since the 1st of January 2021, sanitary products, period pads and tampons are now officially zero rated. So that is a huge, massive win for us. I'm very happy. You will also hear sometimes exempt, and that just means that no VAT or tax is applied to that particular good or service. So VAT registration. Now, you have to register for VAT when your turnover is £85,000 in any 12-month period or is about to reach this threshold in the next 30 days. Okay. I have a real big issue with this, okay? What often happens is, and what I see a lot in Facebook groups, and this is really the reason why I started off with that first of all, because I need to get this off my chest, is I will see business owners asking in business groups on Facebook, do I need to register for VAT? Just started my business, this is my situation, whatever the case may be. And they will so often get a standard rote answer, which is, you don't have to register for VAT because your turnover isn't 85 grand. Like, okay, fine, that's true. You do not legally have to register for VAT unless you've reached the VAT threshold, fine. But people receive that information from sources that they probably trust or believe or rely on, because these other people have either been in business or maybe they're in finance or whatever the case may be. And then they go on with that information and they go and say, fine, I'm not going to worry about being VAT registered. But you are missing out on so many potential savings by not even considering being VAT registered. And we're going to talk about them in a lot more detail in the next couple of slides and in the next few videos. But the most important thing about, if you're a startup business and you're spending more than you're earning, which is the case for pretty much every startup business, you're missing out on VAT savings. If you sell zero rated or reduced rate goods, you're missing out on VAT savings. If you work in certain industries, you're missing out on VAT savings. If you register early, if you're nearing the threshold and you register early, you are saving yourself and your clients admin, stress, money, because the effort it takes when you're nearing that threshold and you have to rush and adjust your invoices and adjust your receipts and adjust your trade agreements and go and recover funds from people that you've already bought from or sold to, that hassle and stress also costs you time and money. So registering early has massive benefits. It's not a benefit for everybody, absolutely not, but you should 100% check if it will be a benefit for you, and that's exactly what I'm going to be showing you a little bit later on. When you do decide to go VAT registered, it's super easy. Just log into your government gateway portal and register for VAT online. It's really easy. If you do need help, if you do get VAT registered, I do 100% recommend that you get the help of a bookkeeper or accountant, because of some of the pros and cons that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. Now, VAT returns and calculations. In general, you have to submit your VAT returns every quarter, so that's every 3 months. You have to calculate the output tax, so that's the VAT you've received on your sales, and your input tax, and that's the VAT you've spent on your expenses. The calculation is generally VAT on sales minus VAT on purchases. If you get a positive number, you pay HMRC the difference. If it's negative, then HMRC pay you. Now, the pros and cons. Again, the biggest benefit that I see to VAT registration is that in effect, you're not paying VAT, which can make up about 1/6 of your expenses. It's a very rough guide, but consider it, do your calculations yourselves and see if you could be potentially making some big savings. You can charge VAT on what you sell, that's the output tax. You can reclaim VAT on what you buy, that's the input tax. You'll be eligible for VAT refunds if you sell zero-rated goods. That is so, so important for those of you who do sell zero-rated goods, like some of the examples we showed on the previous slide. Being VAT registered often makes you more attractive to other VAT registered companies, because for them, your services or goods are suddenly cheaper because they get to reclaim the VAT that they paid to you. Displaying your VAT number can make you appear more reputable and trustworthy and larger to potential customers. And you can backdate your VAT claims on goods for up to 4 years and services for up to 6 months when you register. So if you've already started trading and then you've decided after watching this video, okay, I want to register for VAT, you can go and claim back everything that you've spent in VAT from 4 years or 6 months on your goods and services that you've bought and sold, which can be a huge major win. Some of the negatives of being VAT registered is that it may deter your non-VAT registered consumers. So often if you're a B2C company, this is where you might get a bit of a negative, because charging VAT sometimes can make you raise your prices, and they cannot claim back the VAT on what they've paid to you. So in that way, it can be a little bit of a deterrent. How you calculate VAT on your prices can be different. You might choose to just add it to your price, in which case your prices do increase, or you can include it in your current price, in which case you might be affecting your profit margin. But I would recommend that you do a full calculation and work out what's the most beneficial way to include VAT in your prices if you choose to do that. If you take in more than you pay, then you do need to pay the difference to HMRC. Additional admin work is required if you come VAT registered. So in general, as a business owner, you do need to be keeping good and accurate records of your income and your expenses as standard anyway. The reason why I say I advise you to get a bookkeeper or accountant if you do become VAT registered, because those records become a lot more detailed. You need to be checking for that your VAT receipts and invoices are correct and formal VAT documents, and you need to be submitting your quarterly returns or your annual returns, or making your calculations based on the various schemes that you're on. So to be honest, to save yourself time, money, effort and stress, I would advise that you get a bookkeeper to do that for you. And the last one is that you do need to have MTD compatible software to submit your VAT returns. MTD is Making Tax Digital. HMRC did a big push the last couple of years to go away from their paper-based filing system, which was very frustrating, to now being online and digital, which is amazing. And that was one of the first things that they changed over. So it is fantastic. The con is that you do need to have MTD compatible software. Again, get a bookkeeper or an accountant, because often they can just provide software to you for free included with their services. That's exactly what I do for my clients. So that's it for today, keeping it short and sweet. The very next time I'm going to be showing you a video of the actual calculation of how to maximize the benefits of VAT. So if you fall into any of those categories of being a small or startup business, if you sell zero-rated or reduced-rated goods, or if you're in specific industries where being VAT registered would be a benefit to you, I'm going to be giving you examples of exactly how much you could be saving by being VAT registered. So definitely take a look at that. I'm also going to be showing you a video on how to calculate your VAT return so that you can do that yourself. And there's going to be a free guide to download available on our website, which is www.karabookkeepingspecialist. Hit /resources to go directly there. I've gone through this video really quickly, so looking at the VAT rate schemes and the different industries and goods and services, supplies, and what rates they're applied to. I've gone through it really quickly because I don't want the video to be too long, but all of the detail of those things is going to be in the guide. So if you think that VAT registration will be a benefit to you and you want to look at the details in a little bit more detail, then please go and download that free guide. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe, follow, comment, and share. And I look forward to seeing you soon.